Welcome. Happy Friday, 2 p.m. Friday, exactly 24 hours after the first episode of Growing Bold Season 2. Thanks for tuning in. We're going to have a great time. I'm here to talk to you guys about, how to make tough decisions as a leader. I got a lot of questions and a lot of feedback about that based on episode 1. There was a lot of tough decisions that had to be made. Obviously, you're only seeing, 7 or 8 minutes of time compressed. But, to really make the decision to say, hey, am I willing to put everything on the line here for what I really believe and what I think is possible? Or am I going to go with the knowns, right? And so clearly, I'm willing to take the risk. I'm willing to put everything on the line and say, look, I really believe that we're changing the world, that we're changing an industry, and we're changing people, and I'm going to do whatever it takes to help us get there, to make that happen, to lead a group of people and make those tough decisions, and it's not easy. How many of you saw Growing Bold episode 1? Just type in yes if you saw that yesterday. Curious. Ready to learn, Millionaire Unstoppable here. What's up? What's up, Matt? Really excited that everybody is joining back in. I know that, I want to make sure I answer some questions. So while I wait for some of your responses, because it's a little bit delayed, I want to cover a couple of things here today, right? So one, how to make tough decisions as a leader. I'm going to talk a little bit more in depth about that, and that's obviously piggybacking off of the follow-up of Growing Bold Season 2, Episode 1 that aired yesterday, finally. And then a Q&A. I'm going to open this up Q&A. So you can talk to me, you can ask questions about Growing Bold, about the business, about myself, about how to make tough decisions as a leader, or anything that you want, anything that you're really curious about. And remember, we did 15 minutes to bold. So for anybody that commented or shared the episode in the first 15 minutes, from when we launched it live, got put into a little bit of a pool. We shuck it up digitally, and then we picked a person that's going to get a 30-minute call with me early next week, and then a handful of folks that are going to get some bold swag. Oh, and guess what? My good friends over at Cardone, Grant and Jared, and all my friends over there gave me some 10X books. I'm going to give one of these away. So stay tuned for that too. I'll give that away towards the end there. 10X Rule, one of the books that changed a lot about how I think about leadership and making big decisions. So I think that's just perfectly timed for today. So going to take a quick scroll through here. Yes, me. Yes, live. You watched it live. That's cool, Greg. What did you think, Greg, by the way, or anybody else that happened to watch it live? What did you think about the live premiere? That's a pretty new thing that Facebook is letting some creators and folks like us test out. I thought it was pretty cool. I'm curious from your perspective if you enjoyed watching it in that live format, that real-time format. Awesome. Hello. Showed it to my family. It was much more than just a business decision. It was a life decision as well, to the best. Thanks, Scott. I appreciate that. Heck yeah. What's up, Austin? Thank you for joining. So let's talk about that. Let's talk about, well, first, right, because I guess there are some folks, crazy enough, that don't know who I am. So I'm the founder and CEO of Bold Worldwide. We are a media marketing company based here in New York. We're really more of a business solutions firm. We're trying to change the entire ad industry. I'm trying to find some of the best people, the smartest, most passionate humans on earth to help change the industry, grow this company. We're aiming for $100 million. That's just the first stop, because when we get to that point, it's going to give us some leverage where we can really muscle around and change this industry, because I believe that it's broken. That's Bold Worldwide. So documenting my story with Growing Bold, and episode 1 obviously was pretty intense. You know what? Let me do this, because I always think this is kind of cool. I'm going to roll in the first 60, 90 seconds of the episode, on here, and then let's let's chat about it when I come back. So about 60 seconds or so right into the intro, and then we'll come back and chat about it and talk about how to make really tough decisions as a leader.
The problem is we've grown. I'm the bottleneck for everything in the company. Love everyone that's on the team. The reality is, I think there's a lot of people that are coasting. Say they're working hard. Are they? Say they want the challenge. Do they really? I don't think so. I can't grow this company any further if I don't gut the entire company. And I'm willing to burn it to the ground.
Cristiano, CEO of Bold Worldwide, top experts in the world of marketing.
Here to discuss is Cristiano.
Is 100 million real?
Yeah, absolutely real. I have not been a great CEO, but it's time for me to step up.
I'm down 50% on my staff.
It could be enough to put us out of business.
Nobody's grinding like you are.
Is there anything you worry about?
I'm tied to making this work.
Crazy story.
This is a real growing bold.
So there you have it. It's a little taste of episode 1. If you haven't seen it, go check it out. It's on Facebook. It's also on YouTube now. It was really fun. I got a lot of great feedback. But what we're talking about today is how to make really tough decisions as a leader. It's not easy. It's not always easy. I think for me, and somebody here said, it wasn't really just a business decision. It was a life decision. You're absolutely right. I mean, the decisions that you make in your business are the decisions that impact your life, right? What I do here impacts my wife, impacts my kid, impacts my home, impacts my employees, impacts my friends. And so it's really about getting clear on, where are my standards? What is the life that I want to live as the leader? And then not forcing that on everyone, but finding the people in the world that say, hey, I want to live that kind of a life. I believe in those things. So it starts with being clear with yourself, number one, and really understanding, what am I about? Why am I doing this? And what am I trying to accomplish? And so for me, when I got really clear that, we're not just trying to build like a good small to mid-size ad agency. Like I want to take over the industry. I want to change it. And not just to take it over. It's not a money game. It's just I see how poor this entire industry has been these last 10 years, meaning they're not putting the clients first. They're continuing to buy TV ads. 82% of all media spend is traditional media. Dude, we're watching Facebook Live together. We're having a live conversation. You're not watching TV right now, but that's where most ad agencies spend their clients' money because it's easy, because they don't really care, and because they're not really trying to get results for their clients. What's an ad agency supposed to do? Grow business. What is marketing supposed to do? Increase sales, right? And if we're not actually doing that for our clients, what the hell are we doing? And so I'm like, you know what? Nobody else is going to do this. I got to do this. Like, why not me, right? And it starts with that. Why not me? And so once I got clear on like my trajectory, what I want to accomplish, I said, okay, great. We're growing. Like last year, we had the most growth ever, like in part by growing bold, in part by a lot of the business decisions I made. We're really in a great position to do so. But I said, is this it? Is this what's going to take us to the next level? Is this going to change an industry? And the answer, unfortunately, was no. And that was really tough because you know what? Everyone who works for me now and worked for me then, and everyone in between, like I love everybody. Like I'm a real people person. I hate conflict. I hate telling people no. I absolutely hate, having to have a confrontational conversation. I really do. Like that's just not me. Like I'm all just like, let's go. Let's solve some problems. Let's have some fun. Let's do some cool stuff. Let's do great work. The reality is the other side of business and the other side of life, the challenges, the tough conversations, they're part of it. You can't have one without the other. Okay? And so for me, it's like, man, I really love everybody. I like worked with some of these people for a long time. Like it's a real tough decision to say, you know what? They're not the right people. Not all of them. But I wasn't even really sure. And so I said, you know what? I've got to make a tough decision. And for me, the crossroads, the pinnacle of it was, man, I don't want to just go in there and just fire a bunch of people. Because that's actually easy. It sucks, but that is so easy. And that's what most businesses do. That's what most people do. That's what most corporations do. They just go, hey, you know what? They're just numbers. Fire them, and we'll figure stuff out later. Do this, A, not the right thing to do. And B, I don't want to be that guy. I'm not that guy. I don't want to be that company. Because the other part of it is, too, if I went in that day and I said, hey, guys, you X% of the company, see you later. Everybody else who walks in the next day or that Monday, dude, that's a miserable company to be in. And so I was really torn because I was like, I'm trying to build an incredible culture. It's not about the money, right? Like that's just part and parcel of building a business. It has to be a piece of it. But it's not about that. And so for me, if I'm trying to really build something great where everyone walks in the door every single day and says, hey, what can I as a human being do better today than I did yesterday? And people that want to be in this environment, because you know what, they learn more about themselves personally and professionally here than they would outside these walls. Dude, that's what I want to create. I want to walk into that every day. And I wasn't walking into it. And so for me, I said, look, I can't just like gut the company. I can't chop it off at the legs and fire a bunch of people, because then I'm doing the opposite of creating that empowering atmosphere. But at the same time, I really struggle because I'm like, I can't leave some of these people here. They're not the right folks. They don't have what it takes, and they're not necessarily really willing to put it all on the line and be a part of this. They're not really in for the mission. There's nothing wrong with that, right? And so I'm like, how do I figure that out? And so that's where I came up with, right or wrong, that's where I came up with, look, I'm going to tell everybody, here's the new standards of bold. This is when you come in on Monday, what my expectations of you are, of the company is, and what we're trying to accomplish. Making it super, super clear. And then saying, and if you don't want that, that's totally fine. Like, I respect you. But here's an alternative. So if you don't want that, you can walk out the door, and I'm not leaving you high and dry. So I made it everyone else's choice. And that told myself everything I needed to know about every single person in the company. It told them and their colleagues something about themselves. And the people that stayed and showed up on the next day or Monday, man, that's a tight-knit group. Those are the diehards. Those are the people that get it. Those are the people you want on the team. So I'm not saying this was the right move. I'm not saying it was the easy move. I'm not saying that it's what you should do. But that is what was behind, in my thoughts, how we got there and the decision that I made. So it's tough, man. You got to make tough decisions in business. You have to ask yourself, if I don't do this, what happens? And if I didn't do that, if I didn't make a big move, if I didn't shake stuff up, was I going to get where I really wanted to go? Nope. Was I going to walk in and kind of question myself every day and be like, you know, it's not what I know it can be? Yep. That's not the life I want to live. You know? That to me is the most important thing. And the thing is, again, like, it's nothing against any of the individual people. Right? Like, it wasn't, because I really like people. I liked everybody that worked with me. I still do. I'm still friends with some. Actually, believe it or not, some of those folks. You know, I'm not trying to not give too much away. Still freelance for me. It just wasn't, you know, I gave some of them the best opportunity to come back, you know, and say, oh my gosh, wow, this other thing happened for me because it did leave. So that's the thing, is it feels like a negative at the time, but if you do the right thing and you figure out a way. I did the best that I could, given where we were in the size of the company, to say, hey, look, you know, what's going to happen here? What do we do? Like, how do you walk out of this door and go like, wow, that wasn't easy. That was tough. I didn't necessarily even feel good about it, but I get it. And you didn't put me in a bad position because of it. Dude, that's what I wanted to create. Like, that's cool. That's awesome. And so that's the tough decision, and it's figuring out, like, how can you really do it? Can you stand up there? Can you say what needs to be said regardless of the reaction that you're going to get? And can you find a way to do it that's the right way to do it, the right thing to do? And are you really willing to hold your standards? Because I can say everything that I want. I can fire people. I can give people severances. I can do whatever I want. But am I going to hold up to my own standards, to everything that I said that day? That's the make or break. That's actually the toughest decision. Can I really hold that standard day in and day out and not back down? That's the difference between a manager and a phenomenal leader. So we'll open it up for some Q&A, some questions about leadership, about growing bold. Let me just check my little thing here, check the clock. You know, let's do that. Let's open up this Q&A, and then I'm going to announce the first winner of the 15 minutes to bold, who's going to get 30 minutes of my time, a call. Do it as a business consulting call. If that's what's helpful for you, we can just chat. We can talk about whatever. I can coach you, whatever you need. Like, just 30 minutes of my time. We'll schedule that out, and then a handful of other folks. I'm going to send out some swag to you for commenting and sharing the first 15 minutes of launching the episode. That was super cool. And I'm going to do that, by the way, we're going to do this every single week. So everybody's got another shot next Thursday at 2 p.m. We're going to launch episode 2 of season 2. In those first 15 minutes, if you comment or share, and you do it multiple times on Facebook, YouTube, each one counts. We count all that up. We put you in a list. It gets randomized somehow and then spits out like, hey, this is going to be the person gets 30 minutes. Here's some other folks that we're going to give some swag to. And today, like I said, I'm going to be giving away some books, and my friends over at Cardone U, at Cardone Capital, Grant himself, Jared, gave me some 10X rule books. I'm going to give one of these away today. Probably some more throughout throughout the series. Going to be doing some more of that. Have some great stuff coming up. Some other swag, some other books for some other great leaders and some other people who have influenced me. Going to keep doing that stuff. And also remember too, when you share out the Growing Bold episode in the first 15 minutes, comment on it in the first 15 minutes. YouTube, Facebook, both. You get put in for that, for that giveaway that week. But then I'm also going to pick somebody for the bigger, I guess I call it a grand prize. Fly somebody out to New York, spend the whole day with me here, get the preview of the final episode of season 2 before we launch it. So it's going to be pretty awesome. All right, questions, Q&A. How many people stayed and how many left? You don't have to answer it if it's too personal. Eric, thanks for the question. It's a great question, and a lot of people are asking me that. Now here's the deal. This is what I promise you. I answer it in episode 2 next week on Growing Bold. So I won't tell you the exact, I won't tell you what happened. I will tell you people left. But to find out exactly the level of impact that had, tune in next Thursday at 2 p.m. on Facebook or YouTube for Growing Bold. But seriously, I'm putting it out there. I said I'm going to put everything out there. And I tell you, man, it was a little bit nerve-wracking, a little bit to say, like, wow, I'm going to show something that no other CEO that I know about has ever put out on the, into the world. This is a tough thing to do, but the feedback has been great because, again, it comes from a good place. So, all right. Even if I know, and shout out from Tucson. Daniel, what's up from Tucson? Thanks for motivation. No problem. Hate people, just coast. Yeah, same. Cool. So any Q&A that you guys have outside of that one from Eric, how many people stayed and left? Again, you'll find out next week. What's the best way to hire your first assistant? Daniel, I would say hire your first assistant. Daniel, I would say that, really understand what are your strengths, okay? Like, what do you do really well? What's going to have the biggest impact if somebody else did it for you? Okay, so if it's like, look, I spend 20% of my day answering emails and scheduling stuff, and I travel a lot, and it's confusing, and stuff gets lost in the shuffle, then find somebody that's really good, super organized, and fits your lifestyle, okay? If it's somebody like, look, I need somebody to make calls for me, like tee stuff up, I need somebody to be in meetings with me and take notes, like what are the things that you need that are gonna have the biggest impact? Like, don't just get an assistant because, like, you want to make your life a little bit easier. Understand, like, what are you trying to free up that you do all the time that someone else can do better than you, that you can give that has direct, immediate impact? Like, find that person. The other thing is you got to absolutely 1,000,000% have to have a cultural fit. Like, you need to be thinking the same, feeling the same. Your assistant, you need to be like, because you're going to be really close. You're going to be talking all the time. You need to make sure that they're going to be hearing confidential information. They can keep it confidential. That if depending on where you are in your business cycle, your business life, it might just be somebody really junior who's a real hustler, who's super organized, right? It might be somebody that's way more senior, that's worked with VPs, has worked with executives, that isn't there just to manage your calendar, sure, but they're there to give you advice and give you guidance and be your eyes and ears. It really depends. Like, figure out what you need that's going to have the biggest impact and hire for that, and make sure you're on the same page as a human being, because that's super important. And the last thing I'll say is transparency. You do not want to hire an assistant that's going to blow smoke. You want to hire an assistant that is going to tell it to you like it is every time. Like, they're not sitting there, they're not there to suck up to you or to impress you. They're there to get a job done and tell you the truth. That, I think, and I've learned that lesson a couple times. I think that's super important. All right, what else we got? What other questions? When is baby due? Eric, dude, like, any minute. Can you explain why most agencies see an influx on business at the end, towards the end of the year? Yeah, because of CapEx budgets, man, because different departments, especially in bigger companies, they have their capital expenditure budget, meaning if they've got $1 million that they've got allocated to spend on, let's say, video production for a year, and you get to Q4 and they still have $500,000 left, and they say, oh man, like, we still have $500,000 left, they will find a way to spend it. Because what happens is if finance sees, in big companies usually, and I'm not saying this is efficient or the smart way to do business, this is just how it works often, is if finance sees that, hey, next year we look backwards at your budget and you only spent $500,000 on production, well, clearly you don't need a bigger budget. We'll give you $500,000 for your budget. So everyone's afraid to lose their budget, so they will spend every last dollar. And so certain companies haven't spent it all, and they're trying to find ways to make sure that they can do whatever project that's been on their plate or been on their mind, or even getting stuff done for Q1 ahead of time using this year's schedule if they've still got CapEx. That's why a lot of stuff like crazy fast last-minute stuff happens in Q4. Also, a huge opportunity if you're paying attention to that. Do you use Wirecast? Yep, that's what I'm using right now. Why are the best approach a large company to potentially license a product? What's the best way to approach a large company to potentially license a product? Awesome. What kind of company? What kind of product? What else? Jesse, you started Bold from nothing. I have a strong skill set and want to help others with this ability. Consulting. How do you just start? Restaurant operations. So you want to consult for restaurant ops. So easy. Like, if you hopefully you already have connections. If you don't, go make them. Like, that's it. Especially when it comes to consulting. You need to get in front of the businesses that are in the restaurants that you said operations, that you're like, hey, you've got really great food here, or you're trying to scale but they're having some trouble, or they've really, maybe they've been struggling last year or two and they just need somebody to come in who knows the way, who can show them, help button stuff up and show them how to do that. So I would look for those opportunities, look for those restaurants that you can help the best, that are in the situation you know the best, and you go and you talk to them and say, hey, look, I see what's going on here. Like let me spend an hour with you. Let me spend a half hour with you. Let me talk this out. Give them some advice. Walk them through some of the things that they could do so that they understand that you're not just trying to take their money. You're really there to help them and you know what you're talking about. And then if it's a good fit, sell them. Close the business. Great, makes a lot of sense. No problem. So yeah, I tell you what. Oh, here we go, Eric. One more. After the season, do you feel like saying only as strong as your weakest link is a true statement? Only as strong as your weakest link. No, I don't think that that's true, because you can have like somebody who's really like not great in a certain piece of the business. Let's just say, hey, okay, we're ad agency. Eric, you're in a similar business. So look, let's say that you've got a real weak link, like somebody that's just like doing a bad job on the design side of your company. Are you is the company as vulnerable as just that element? Absolutely not. I would say you're as strong as I think you're as strong as your leadership, the weakest level of your leadership. That's what I think it is. Because if everyone thinks that it's like, oh, the weakest link on the entire team, that's just not true. Because you could teach people, you could groom people. It might be in a part of the business where, yeah, like it has impact, but you're not going to lose clients because of it. Like, all right, nobody's super happy with design, but everything else you're doing is great. You're not exposed to just that weak link. But if you have management, you have leadership that isn't real leaders, that are saying things or promising things or giving guidance, or creating a culture that is not what you want, not what you believe in, and not what you're trying to create, you are as strong as that level. That's what I would say. I'd just readjust the way I think about that sentence and say it's not the weakest link of the entire organization. It's the weakest link of your management and leadership, for sure. No problem. All right, so let's do this. And I don't know if they are on here watching or not. If you're on here, freaking fantastic. Well, hey, actually, before I do that, okay, I was gonna say who's getting the swag, who's getting the 30-minute call with me. Before I do that, who wants a copy of the 10X rule? I'm gonna give one of these away. I'm sure most of you probably already had it, read it, but if you don't, who wants a copy of the 10X rule? I'm gonna give one out right now. Just give a like and a yes. Or actually, give a like and a 10X. And a 10X in the comments there. And I'm going to pick somebody at the very end here to get the copy of the 10X rule from my friends over at Cardone U, Cardone Capital, all my pals over there. So I'll take it, Jesse Davis. Nice. All right, so I'm going to give that away at the end here. And in the meantime, I don't know if you are on this feed, and if you are, freaking fantastic. And if you're not and you see it later, also fantastic. We'll try to have somebody reach out to you or myself. But we're going to give away 1, 2, 3, 4 people. I'm going to send some swag to, some hats, some other cool stuff. I don't know yet. We're gonna put some stuff, send a couple little swag bags out to 4 people. Let me grab the names here. David Nips, Nipps. David Nips, we're gonna send you some cool swag. Christine Hunton Fisher, we're gonna send you some cool stuff. Annie Kiai, I think Kiai is the last name. Annie Kiai, I hope I pronounced that right. And my boy Michael Ficara, you made it into this one, man. Gonna send you guys some swag. So if you see this, you hear this, I'll also post it in the comments. Shoot me a DM. I'll connect you with my folks over here. I'll make sure you get some cool stuff. And then as far as the 30 minutes goes, now guys, remember, and tell everybody this, because the more that we do this, more the people that get in on this 15 minutes to bold, the more I'm going to be able to give away. And I'll tell you right now, the reason that I'm doing it, and I'll be transparent, of course, right? I want people to share the episode right out of the gate. Like, let's go. Let's get as many people as we can to watch. But you know why? You know why? Outside of just obviously the exposure, it's because when I started doing this, it was for me. It was for Bold. It was for the company. It's for our exposure. What I did not expect was how many people, thousands of people, have DM'd me, bumped into me on the side. Somebody bumped into me while I was doing an Instagram story talking about this on my way back into the office, like 25, 30 minutes ago, seriously, who have said to me, wow, you've changed my business. You've changed my life. You've changed my perspective. People have taken some of the things that I've said, learning from my journey, and said, wow, I'm going through something similar. I'm going to go do that in my company. Or I'm going to talk to this person the way that Brian handled it. And that I did not expect. I swear to you, that was not part of this. I'm being totally honest. But that's really now, like, that's the most amazing part of this, is really having genuine impact, like helping other people through my journey. Like, see what I'm doing. Like, you don't have to do it my way, but like, see how I'm handling it. See how I'm thinking about stuff. And because I'm trying to be as transparent as possible and show you everything, you get the real, like, real deal, real behind the scenes, real entrepreneurship, real growing a business, the real challenges, like the real stuff that, like, nobody else shows this. Nobody shows standing up in front of their entire company and giving them an ultimatum. Like, nobody does that. I want to do that. You know why? Because I think back and I go, man, when I was 22, when I was 23, before I ended up messing up my first company and being broke and in debt on a couch, I wish I had that to watch. I wish I could see that those struggles are just part of the journey. I wish I could see, like, how does somebody talk to get out of that stuff? Like, how do they present to close a deal? Like, what do they do when somebody says this to them, or they're struggling with a decision? If I could have watched that back then, I think I would have gotten way farther than I am now. And so I'm putting this out there for all the people that have been helped by my content, who are just, of course, all the people that are just entertained and enjoying it. But man, I thank every single person who sent me a message, a thank you, bumped into me. Like, it's freaking incredible. I really didn't think I'd have that kind of an impact, and we're just scratching the surface. And so when you share and comment on Facebook and YouTube in the first 15 minutes of launching a Growing Bold show on Thursdays at 2 p.m. Eastern, when you do that in the first 15, comment or share, more people see it. And I want to impact everybody that I can. You help me do that, and that's why I'm going to give away 30 minutes every single week of my time. That's why I'm going to give away, the 10X rule and some bunch of really great other books from other people who've impacted me. This is why I'm going to give away swag every week. So the bigger we do this, tell everybody to do this, because the more that we do, the more people that help share this, the more people that it reaches, I'm going to give you cooler stuff. Like, the fact that I'm going to fly somebody to New York for a day, that's pretty awesome. Dude, let's go bigger. Let's go bolder, man. Like, that's what we're all about. Like, help me do that. That's all I'm asking. I'm not selling anybody anything. There's no course. There's nothing to buy. Like, unless you're a big brand, you want to do business with us, an ad agency, which let's chat. But like, outside of that, dude, I'm not selling anything. Like, this is how we create a relationship, and I thank you for that. So with that said, 30 minutes. Tina Moore Camacho. I hope I didn't mess up your last name. You're gonna get 30 minutes of my time. We'll schedule that out. DM me if you see this. Otherwise, we'll have somebody reach out to you. DM me on Facebook, and we will I'll give you 30 minutes of my time, and you can let Lisa or somebody else here know what you want to talk about for those 30, so I can prep. Make sure that I make it as most valuable for you. You want to talk about business, anything, marketing, you want just some coaching, whatever, entrepreneur advice, whatever you want to do, we'll talk about that. Make sure it's as valuable as possible. And we'll do this again next week. So I thanks everybody. I really, really do. And I'm excited for episode 2 because, like I said to Eric, that's where I'm going to really show like some of what happened. What happened? And what do you do next after doing something like that? All right. Let's see. Jake. I just randomly scrolled up and I saw Jake says 10X. Jake, going to give you a copy from my friends at Cardone, Cardone Capital, 10X Rule. Sarah Glant was good enough to hook me up, send me a bunch of copies. So just for this purpose. So Jake, I'm going to make sure you get one of those. DM me with your address. We'll send that to you. Maybe also throw in some bold swag. Anyway, I appreciate everybody. I really, really do. And I'm curious, what's as I sign off here, I'll try to answer everybody in the comments later. You know, what was the biggest lesson or question that you had after watching episode 1 of Growing Bold? Like, for real. All right. With that, I'm going to sign off. I really appreciate you. And remember, next Thursday at 2 p.m., there's Lisa right there, everybody. Lisa's got some swag, some hats. Look at this. That's awesome. All right. We'll see you all soon. Thanks for tuning in. Have a great Friday. Having a great weekend. Be bold and go kill it.
Yeah.